Okay, well, welcome. Welcome, everyone. We're just giving everyone a second to log in here. Our attendee numbers are a record high this month, so we're just giving you a moment to get all logged in. Well, welcome to today's webinar, 7 Steps to a Ridiculously Radiant Career with Joan Verge. We are hosting a free webinar each month in celebration of serving the administrative profession for 25 years. And it is our hope that you are going to continue to join us each month and share these events with all of your administrative peers. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Before I turn the program over to Joan, I just have a few logistics to review with you. Joan will speak for about 40 minutes, and then we will have a question and answer time. You can submit your questions using the chat box on the right side of your screen, and we will hold them until the end, and we will have a special time designated for that. Please keep in mind that Joan and our tech team are trying to answer all of the questions today, but because of the volume of people that we have on the webinar and the amount of time we have, that may not be possible, but we are going to do our best to answer as many as possible. Today, I mentioned that we passed our highest record of attendance. So far, we have nearly 3,300 people registered for the event, and the number was growing up until the last minute. We're giving away more than $1,000 in prizes, so be sure to stay tuned until the end of the webinar, not only for the prizes, but also for Joan's super secret. You will receive access to the recorded webinar after today's event, so please feel free to share this event when you get that replay link. Also, today's handout link will be available in the chat box if you didn't get that ahead of time. And we will have a certificate of attendance available to everyone who attended today, and we'll send those out later this week. You can also talk about the event using social media. Whatever your favorite social media platform is, just use the hashtag #RadiantCareer, and we will watch those conversations this week or today and talk with you there. Okay, now I would like to introduce Joan Verge, founder and CEO of Office Dynamics International. Joan is an accomplished author, professional speaker, consultant, and corporate trainer. In 1990, Joan created a business in an untapped niche, overcoming monumental obstacles involving managers' attitudes, prejudices, and stereotypes about executive assistants and administrative professionals. She dedicated herself to inspiring excellence and encouraging administrative professionals to reach for the stars. Office Dynamics International is a global industry leader offering a broad range of solutions and provides high-performance, sophisticated executive and administrative assistant training and coaching. Joan's never-ending quest to provide top-notch educational programs to assistants and their executives has earned the respect of premier clients like Cisco, AT&T, Boeing, Humana Inc., Sunoco, Procter & Gamble, Nationwide Insurance, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I see our numbers are still growing, so as everyone gets logged on here, I would like to welcome Joan.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you very much, and welcome, everyone. Wow, what an exciting day it's going to be, and an exciting webinar. I want to thank you so much for helping us with a webinar revolution. This is something I wanted to do, especially because it is April and because this is the month that we're going to honor your special profession. So thank you all for participating today. Be sure to stay tuned until the end of the webinar because I am going to share with you my secret about a radiant career. So it's my super secret. I want to save it to the very end. Plus, we're going to be giving away great prizes for you today. So please, I hope you don't have to leave the webinar. If you are watching as a group, which many people are starting to do now, and you did not personally sign up for this program, I would like to encourage you to subscribe to our Monday Motivators so that we may have your email address and can send you announcements about our future webinars. This year, in honor of our 25th year anniversary, Advancing the Administrative Profession, I am doing a free webinar every month. So if you would like to subscribe and make sure that you don't miss any great webinar that is coming up, you can subscribe to the Monday Motivators at OfficeDynamics.com. Today, I want to tell you how you can leverage your role, shape your future, achieve not only what you desire, but what you deserve. And I want you to learn the 7 steps to achieving a radiant career. Before we begin, I want to tell you about 3 enemies who might be sabotaging you or who might be preventing you from having a radiant career. So if you would grab your handout, we do have handouts for everyone that you should have accessed, and if you want to pull those out right now and turn to page 2, this is a fill in the blank. If you do not have a handout, that's okay. Just take copious notes, whether it's on your iPad or the good old-fashioned way. But let's begin with taking a look at these 3 enemies. So enemy number 1 is the "don't you want to do something else" syndrome. People tend to not view this profession as a true profession. And the infamous question that all star performing assistants hear are or is, what are you going to do next? Wouldn't you like to move into management? After all, you're so awesome at what you do. Now, I have a real issue with this because we don't ask anyone else in any other career, what do you want to do next? In other words, we don't go to our doctors and say, gee, you're a really great doctor, what's your next career? Or we don't say to attorneys, gee, what do you want to do next? So why is it that people assume that a great assistant wants to do something else or needs to leave the profession? So if people are saying that to you, beware. That is the enemy, especially if you truly, truly enjoy this profession. Enemy number 2, it's the mentality that, oh, well, anyone can do this job. It's interesting because I hear this often. When I'm working with various managers and executives, even when I'm talking to human resource professionals, I'll hear them say, well, anyone could do that job. We could get anyone to fill that position. That is not true. Not anyone can be a great administrative assistant. So don't let anyone fool you on that. Number 3, the number 3 enemy is the assistant themselves. In other words, those are assistants who talk negatively about their profession, and sometimes, you know, they don't even realize they're doing it. Or they'll say things like, well, I'm just the admin. I can't help you, or I can't make decisions because I'm just the assistant. So it's also those assistants out there who are really sabotaging themselves and maybe don't really see this as a career. So before we get into the 7 steps, the next thing I want to share with you or have you look at is what's the difference between a career and a job. And if you do not, again, have a handout available to you, that's okay, because I'm going to walk through this and you'll get to hear what I'm going to say. And as I read through the differences, I want you to think about yourself. Where are you? Is this just a job for you, or is it truly a career? So one thing with a career is the pursuit of a lifelong ambition. It's a general course of progression towards our goal. If we just view it as a job basically is activity by which you earn money. So you see the difference? Requirements for a career. It does require special learning in addition to general basic training. Now this is really interesting because a lot of people think administrative professionals don't need special learning. They can just attend anything that their managers attend and go to any program, or what I've heard for years is they don't need any training. Well, the truth is the very reason why Office Dynamics exists is because I saw a gap for administrative professionals, that there wasn't specialized training for them. So when you have a career, you do have specialized training. If you have a job, well, it may or may not include specialized training for what you do. In a career, risk-taking is involved. Yes, if you truly have a career, you do take risks. You step out every once in a while. And maybe things don't always work out the way you hope, but you're willing to take a risk and you learn from them. A job is safe. And some people like being safe. So is that you? Because if you really want a career, you're going to have to take risks. A job is short-term. It's drudgery. It's where you really kind of dread going in and having to work that day. When you have a career, you're excited, you're passionate, you're eager, you seek growth. And I'm not saying that every day is exciting when you have a career. Certainly there are days when you're just kind of coasting along, but overall, you should seek growth and want growth. All right, we're going to do one more fun activity, and this has to do with myths versus facts. And again, I want you to kind of evaluate yourself. If you have a handout, put a star by whether you believe in the myth or do you believe in the fact. If you don't have a handout, then just think to yourself, okay, which one really applies to your thinking? So the first one is, it's a myth that career satisfaction depends on finding the perfect job. That's a myth. But the fact is, there's no such thing as a perfect job. There are just certain jobs that are better suited to our personalities. So I was just thinking about when I was an executive assistant in my early 20s, and I was working for a fabulous company. It was TRW in Cleveland, Ohio, where I grew. Had my eyes on working for a vice president in the organization. And there was one awesome vice president who became a mentor to me. And I remember that his assistant was leaving, and no one else in the department wanted to apply for that job. Not because he was a mean person, but because he was highly demanding. I wanted that job more than anything, and I did get the job, and it was the best position I ever had in the 20 years of my administrative career. So do you see where other assistants wouldn't take that position, wouldn't even touch that position because it was overly demanding and you put in a lot of hours? I ate it up. Let's go on to the next myth. Getting ahead is the result of hard work. Do you think that? Do you think that if you work really hard, you're going to get ahead? Well, there is some truth to that, but that's just the beginning. People notice your performance. You have to position yourself very carefully. You have to have a strategy. If you want this radiant career, there's a strategy to that. And you also have to show team spirit. In one of the programs we teach, our world-class assistant, high-end boot camp, we teach assistants how to put together a career portfolio, how to market themselves, how to talk about themselves, how to promote their talents. And that is something a lot of assistants, and me too, in the early days, was not comfortable doing. But if you're going to have that radiant career, you must do that. Let's go on to the next myth and reality. The myth. It's the employer's responsibility to provide fulfilling work to you. Do you believe that? Well, is that true? Let's look at the fact. Or the reality is, it's up to you to seek out challenges and really take charge of your career. Long gone are the days when companies were responsible for making us happy. You know, those were in the old days. You look to the boss to make your job wonderful. You look to your company to make things exciting and wonderful. But the reality today is it is your responsibility. It is my responsibility to make our careers what we want them to be and to make our job exciting and far-reaching. Let's go on. We just have 3 more sets of myth and reality. Myth. Career success, or excuse me, if I just get that degree or promotion, raises will be mine. The reality is degrees don't ensure success. They just improve your chances. So I'm not against degrees by any means. And I know many large organizations today who are requiring administrative assistants to have a 2-year degree to either get a promotion or to even get into their company. So I'm not knocking that by any means. However, I want you to realize it does not ensure success. There are many other pieces that you have to have, the skills, the right attitudes. You need to have, well, I'm going to share my super secret with you at this end of the program. So be sure to stay tuned and I'll tell you more. A myth and reality. Myth, career success invariably means moving up the corporate ladder. Now, yes, when I was an assistant, I definitely wanted to move up the corporate ladder. I wanted to be able to work for a president or a CEO. But also, the reality is that you can move sideways to a position. I've known assistants who have made sideways moves because they love the work, they love the level that they were at within their company, but they didn't necessarily like the group that they were working with. And so they made a lateral move to be able to work with a team who was better suited to their personality. The other part of that is you don't have to move up the corporate ladder. You may have a wonderful executive who lets you grow and lets you learn and challenges you. And so you could have this wonderful expansion of your profession and of your career right where you are. So either one, you have to evaluate what is right for you. And also think about how long you want to work, how long are you going to be in the profession, and do you truly desire to move up the corporate ladder? Because as you move up, that means you're going to have more responsibility and you're going to be held more accountable. I love the last one, so I hope everybody's still with me. We're on the last myth and reality. The myth is career planning and change are only for the young. The reality is career planning is a lifetime process. Yes, I have been working for over 42 years. It's still a lifelong process for me. I had my administrative career for 20 years, and now I have my career as a speaker and as a coach and as someone who wants to guide and help assistants improve the quality of their work life. And I've been doing that for 25 years, and I still have a lot of room to grow. So I know that we have a huge audience out there, and you're at different ends of the spectrum. We have the baby boomers and the millennials. So I want you to know, especially baby boomers, that it's a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong process. In fact, I just read something that I want to share with you, and it is in the handout. It was in USA Today on March 21st of 2015. It said employment is no longer a taboo retirement activity. 65% of baby boomer workers plan to work past age 65 or do not plan to retire at all. While a small handful of boomers plan to keep working past age 65 or throughout retirement in order to stay involved, the majority need employment for financial reasons. So this is something that I know for myself. Actually, retirement has never been in my vocabulary. As long as I'm healthy and as long as I could work, I want to do it. I want to be active and I want to be involved. So things have changed today. And therefore, having this radiant career, having a plan for your career is very important. One quick fact I want to share with you, and then we're going to get to these 7 steps, is that the Labor Department projects that the administrative profession, that category, will grow about 12%, adding nearly 493,000 jobs between now and 2020. So when people tell you this is a dying profession, they don't know what they're talking about. This is not a dying. This is a profession that is evolving, that is changing, that is so exciting. And I hope you choose this as your career. Now, what about the 7 steps to having this radiant, wonderful career? Well, if you have your handout, you will want to turn to page 4 in that handout, and I'm going to fill in the blanks for you. If you do not have a handout, I will repeat the 7 steps at the end, but just try to take as many good notes as you can. And also, you might want to be taking notes of any questions that you want to ask me after the program. So number 1, it's to view yourself as a career entrepreneur. I bet you haven't heard that in too many places. But career entrepreneurs really manage their profession by setting annual goals and tracking those goals throughout the year. They're always monitoring their progress. They're also very resilient, and they don't give up at the first barrier that they hit, or the first time maybe they have failed at something. Now, there are 3 benefits that you derive from this. Actually, there are more, but here are the top 3 I want to share with you. Number 1 is when you actually set this plan out and you're truly an entrepreneur, which entrepreneurs have to manage themselves. No one else really manages us. You will have a tool to use to communicate your long-term goals to your managers, to maybe your human resource department. I mean, you can have all these great goals, but if you don't communicate those to the people who can help you move along and who can help you achieve those goals, you're not going to have that career that you want. The second benefit to you, it puts you in charge of your future. And I don't know about you, but I like to be in charge as much as I can of my life and of my future. And you know what happens if we don't plan our future, if we don't know where we want to go, we will end up where everyone else takes us. And that may not be where you want to be 5 and 10 and 20 years from now. The third benefit to you is that you will stay fresh. You will be considered a thought leader. When people see you setting your goals, when your managers and executives see that you really have a plan, that you're serious, then they're going to look at you and say, wow, this is somebody we need to pay attention to. We need to help this person have their radiant career, because you know what? They don't want to lose you. As a career entrepreneur, you always see this path of growth. You're always learning. You're always growing. You want to expand your mind. That's how you know you have a career. You're not stagnant. It's movement. And every single day, you can be seeking advice from others. You could be learning. And like today, I'm so glad you're here and that you're making time for yourself, because you're worth it. Also, there's something I found on the internet when I was researching and doing extra work about a career. There was something I read that I want to just share a sentence with you. And this talked about recognizing it's not a 9-to-5 thing. When you have a career, it's not 9 to 5. Becoming great in your industry requires constant reading, studying, and progressing. And a lot of time that happens off hours. I know from the time I was out of high school, I never went to college. I am a self-taught individual. And so there's hope for any of you that have, maybe you haven't gone to college and you feel bad about it. Don't feel bad. You can learn every single day. So when you have a career, yes, you are doing things off hours. You are doing reading on the weekends or maybe in the evenings, or you're attending an online course. And I know many assistants who do this. In fact, I am in awe at everything that assistants accomplish today, and I bet you're one of them. Number 2 is own it. You have to own your career. It's up to you. It's not up to your mother or your father or your brother or your sister. I mean, yes, we should get advice. We should have input. We should share our ideas and talk about our plans and our dreams and what we want in our life. But ultimately, it's your life. I always felt that when I went to work, in my career, when I worked as an assistant, that I had to be happy where I was working. I spent more than 40 hours, or at least 40 hours, week after week in the workplace. And so I had to be happy with my career, and I had to be happy where I was working, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But you know, sometimes that's scary, and fear sets in. Oh, I don't want to be responsible. What if I mess up? What if I don't make the right decision? Then what am I going to do? What if I fail? You know what? It's okay. And in fact, you should have a few failures, because if you're not failing, you're not trying, you're not stretching yourself to be all that you can be. And I really, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, while I can't see all of you, I can picture you out there. I want you to think about that. It is your life, and this can be an amazing career. You can really make it what you want. Get the advice, but also have a strategy. You can't leave having a radiant career to chance. You have to have a plan. Number 3, love what you do. If you're going to have a radiant career, as I said, you have to love it. I mean, when I was an assistant, I really, really loved that profession. And you know what? I still love it today. Even though I'm on the other side, even though I'm training and teaching and developing assistants, and I'm coaching executives and their assistants, it's all about this profession. Love what you do. What's interesting to me is when I'm out traveling and I'm in these different locations, because 90% of my work is on-site training, and so I'm out there. I'm in all these various companies and industries throughout our country. And I am fortunate to interact now with a lot of young people coming into this profession, and I love it, and it's exciting because they're going to be our future. And you know what, though? The hard part is sometimes they don't see this as a profession. They see it as, well, I wanted to get into this Fortune 500 company. This is the position I had to go into, you know, to get into the company, and as soon as I can get out of it, I want to get out. I want to go do something else. Well, what transpires after I've spent time with them and I've talked about this fabulous career and what it really means and what you can learn and what you can do and what you can achieve, they'll say to me, wow, I had no idea. I want this as my career. So do you feel that way? Do you love it? Now, I'm not saying every minute you're going to love what you do. And sometimes we don't love our career, or we don't love our work because we're not putting energy into it. Yes, we have to put energy into our careers, whatever they are. We have to put in the effort. We have to own it. We have to see ourselves as entrepreneurs. You're a business owner of that career, and that's why you have to have a plan. That's why you have to have a strategy, plus the other steps I'm going to share with you. But let me just reiterate what I said for the first 3 steps in case you did not catch that information or get those answers. Number 1, view yourself as a career entrepreneur. Number 2, own it, meaning it's your life, you've got to own it, and the choices you make. Number 3, love what you do. All right, let's go to number 4. This is very important, so be ready. It's not about luck. Having a radiant career is not about luck. It's about discipline and consistency. In your handout, I have a quote for you. It's by John Maxwell. He is a world-renowned thought managership expert. I love John Maxwell, and you can follow him as well. And he says, motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. Consistency is doing the right thing every day, whether you feel like doing it or not. And that's what a career entrepreneur does. John says that people who have radiant careers work at it. They continue to work at it. A lazy person will never have a ridiculously radiant career. That is so true. You have to work at it. And for me, I can just share with you personally, in terms of that discipline and that consistency and doing the right thing every day. You know, maybe there are days before I'm going to get on a big stage or be in a training room with 25 people that maybe, you know, it's hard for me. I'm human too. And maybe I didn't have a good night's sleep, or my travel really, it was very long to get to that particular place, or maybe there was something going on in my family or my personal life, or there's a lot of business changes. But when you have a career, you do everything that you're supposed to do, and you know, you do it every day. So think about that, being that star assistant every single day, even on the days you don't feel like it. At this point, too, I want to share with you, there are several assistants who I have been very blessed to meet who truly, truly impressed me. In talking about not luck, there is one particular assistant who I've been fortunate to know just about 2 years ago, I believe we first met. Her name is Becky. I won't give you her last name, but her name's Becky, and if she's participating today, I'm sure she'll know I'm talking about her. But I met Becky a few years ago, and when you talk about somebody having a plan and being very serious about their career, she is an executive assistant. Becky had a real strategy for her professional development. She attended our annual conference for administrative excellence. Soon after that, she asked me to bring in our world-class assistant high-end boot camp training to her organization, which we actually just finished in January of this year. As soon as she finished that, she took our Mastering Exceptional Self-Leadership online course so that she could get another certificate. And she just finished that, and now she's attending our Star Achievement Series that is being offered within her organization. When you talk about someone who's serious about her career, now maybe you're saying, whoa, wait a minute, Joan, that is not for me, that's overload. Well, you have to, you know, really decide what's right for you. I'm just sharing with you that example about a person who gets really serious about their career and what can be achieved. All right, let's go to number 5, is execution. Advice is not in short supply. Everybody seems to have advice. I know I get plenty of advice, but it's really about execution. Do we execute on the advice that we hear? So for example, you are taking an hour today to participate in this webinar. I have shared with you, or will be finishing, 7 tips to a radiant career. I gave you some information prior to this about the myths and the realities. Do you execute on it? That's the question. Are you going to execute on it after today, or was this just, you know, a fun webinar? And I have to make those same choices. I go to training all the time. I go to learning programs. I attend 5-day retreats, and also am starting to participate in webinars. It's really about execution. And do we have that ability to do that? But I also want to add, in addition to getting the advice and executing, we also sometimes need a very detailed map. And that's one reason why we brought on Chrissy Civics wonderful career-changing products earlier this year because Chrissy is a career coach, and she has detailed maps of how you can achieve what you want to achieve. And I think we're actually going to give a few of those away today as one of our prizes, so be sure to stay tuned. I think maybe even a few of them. What I want to say to you about the execution, it is important. I've had coaches in my life in the last few years. I've had a couple of different business coaches, and I don't always hear what I want to hear, or I should say, they don't always say what I want to hear. And it's hard, but it's great and it's wonderful, and they give me perspective that I didn't have. Then I have to get to the point of execution, and that's the hard part because life gets in the way. Number 6, like where you work. You know, as I said earlier, not only love your work, but love where you work. If you're really not happy and it's physically getting to you and you're feeling stressed all the time, yes, it's maybe scary to go out there, but maybe that's what you need to do. But I would better say to you, maybe you need to really look at the job and the work you're doing. Is there a way to add interest to what you're doing? What about your relationships at work? Are you truly stretching out? Are you meeting people? Are you bonding? You know, we get so caught up in instant messaging each other and hiding behind email that we don't have the human moments. And therefore you have a gap in how you feel about where you go to work. So build those relationships, create some of that peer synergy. Number 7 is to have a vision for your future. Often we get so caught up in the tactical part of our jobs or our careers. I do too. You're focused on the day-to-day. When you get into that office, correct? You're focused on what you have to get done today, what you have to have done by 5 o'clock today, what you have to prepare for that's coming up in the next few days. So you're very tactical about your job. What we have to do is we have to see the big picture. We have to take a breath or two and really think about our future and what's that vision. Where do you want to be a year from now? What do you want to create for yourself? What do you want your job to look like? What do you want your relationship with your executive to look like? Do you have a strategic partnership? If you don't, how are you going to create that? So you have to take time today to think about your future. Really quick to help you see the impact of this. I want you to think back to 1999 for a moment. Where were you in home with my husband? Everybody was paranoid about the new millennium, and we thought everything was going to explode and the airplanes were going to fall from the sky. Okay, fast forward, it's 2015. Do you realize how fast 15 years have gone? You have to stop today and take that time to think about your future and where you want to be and what you want to do with this career, because it can be absolutely amazing. It's not like it was 20 and 30 years ago or 40 years ago when I was in the profession and opportunities were limited. Jasmine Freeman is an awesome example of that. Jasmine in my office, you know, she's blossomed. She's been here 8 years and she keeps expanding and growing, and we talk about the vision for her and the plan for her. And that's what you need to do with your managers and your executives or possibly your HR department. So let me repeat the last number 4 to 7 for you in case you missed that, because we do need to have time for all the other great things we're going to do today. Number 4 was, it's not about luck. Number 5, execution. Number 6, like where you work. Number 7 is to have a vision for your future. Now don't leave yet, because we're going to do questions and answers. I'm going to share my super secret summary, and then we have prizes. But what I want to quickly respond to is some of you have written us about what's the difference between our free webinars and our paid webinars, because we're actually going to have a paid webinar next week on how to set healthy boundaries. The difference is with the free webinars, one is we want to be able to reach as many assistants as we can. I want to be able to talk to thousands of you around the world and be able to reach you and help you improve the quality of your work life. And so with these webinars, we go a little more broad, yet they are informative, and I do provide specific tips and strategies. With the paid webinars, which we're going to be offering one a month, I pick a topic, and yes, we have a few subtopics, but I drill down and we go very, very deep. Plus, because we have a smaller group of attendees, people are able to ask more questions and make sure that I can give attention to those questions. So let's move on, because Jasmine, I think it's time to turn it over to you, and let's do some Q&A.
Okay, great, Joan. Well, we have a ton of questions here. Questions. Okay, so let's start with the first question we received was from Yvette. And Yvette says, can you consider being an admin a job yet treat it as a career?
Good question. Wow. Yes, I guess we could say it's a job in terms of if we had an opening for a position here, and we would say we have this job opening available or this job available. So we could definitively say it's a job, and then cognitively, in your mind, in your thinking, see it and view it as your career, because it will make a big difference for you.
Excellent. Thank you for answering that. Okay, let's see here. Our next question is from Maria. And Maria says, as far as their budget goes for training, they're just not able to afford the Office Dynamics conference, and their managers won't approve the spending for that, for the administrative professionals and executive assistants to attend. They say that that amount is allocated, though, for their vice presidents and directors. Assistants are asked to attend, and I won't name the names of what they mention here, but they're asked to attend lower cost events that are in the $100 and $200 range, basically. Which to Maria, she says that's below par for the years of experience that she has, and not the highest quality of event like the event that we offer. And she wants to know if any other assistants have that type of issue. And Joan, how would you answer that? What would you say to Maria in that situation? Because I know a lot of assistants face that.
Maria, thank you for bringing this up, because I have come across this for 25 years in running Office Dynamics, and being that I consider us really the Mercedes-Benz of training for assistants. I've always wanted to provide the highest quality program and education that we can for assistants. And what I would say is, it's a battle we're still fighting. While we've come a long way, we still have to fight to help executives and managers see this as a career. And just as they invest in their careers so that they can become better at their jobs, the very people who support them, who are their right-hand person, also needs to have that benefit to become fully effective, so that therefore their executives can increase their productivity by 25% or greater. So what I would say is it takes a lot of different pieces. It takes having great persuasion skills, which I believe we have some articles on our website about being persuasive. It really is a skill. You have to know how to sell, you have to know how to persuade, you have to know how to convince. I did it when I was an assistant and I wanted a huge raise and a title change. I had to be very persuasive. You have to have your facts in order. You have to be able to communicate in a way, in the language that those executives are going to understand. You have to be persistent. It's getting them to see that I am the person who basically supports you, who runs your life, who makes decisions on your behalf. I am your liaison. I am the information flow manager. And for me to be fully effective and for you to be able to increase your productivity by 25% or greater, I need to attend high caliber educational programs that truly meet me where I am and are going to position me for the future. so I can truly be that strategic partner. So it's more about trying to sell them how they're going to win by investing in you. And I know we have some pieces on our website that talk about how to get to yes. I know on our conference website we even have a letter from me to the executive as to why they should support you. So that's the short answer. There's a lot to it. And I know many of you struggle with this, but I want to sincerely tell you one thing. You know, this is Office Dynamics' 25th year anniversary. I'm almost going to get teary-eyed about it. I love your profession. I love what you do. You are of such value. And it's hard that we still have to fight, but don't give up. Be the warriors, be the champions. It's your future, it's your profession. Just learn the skills, learn the tactics. You can take free courses. We have all kinds of free articles. We have free educational videos for you. Go to our YouTube channel. We've got this for you. You've just got to execute.
Great. That's great, Joan. We have so many more questions, so I'm going to cruise through here. You mentioned a lateral move earlier, Joan, and Kelly asks, how can we fight the stigma of a lateral move? They used to be a career killer. Would you believe that that is still true about lateral moves, Joan?
Okay, thank you for that. Good question as well. Well, first of all, not everyone can climb the career ladder, because as you go up the ladder, there are less and less positions available. So I think, and also though, the thinking today in the human capital industry, as we call it, is about growing where you are planted. So it does not hold a stigma today that it maybe held a long time ago. And if anyone were to make a comment to you, such as, well, you've been in this profession for 5 years, why aren't you climbing the ladder? If you really don't want to, you need to be very comfortable in your skin and say, this is what makes me happy. You know, climbing the ladder isn't or doesn't always bring happiness to people. And I want to grow right where I am planted. And I know we talk about this actually in our Star Achievement series that we teach. And I think we even have an article on that. So it doesn't have to be a stigma unless you think that in your mind. And it's just learning how to communicate to others why you've chosen to stay, where you are.
Great. I know that in my career, early on, I did have the opportunity to make a lateral move. It was in the same organization, same pay, similar type of support role, but the type of people that I was working for in the other department just opened up a whole lot more opportunity, and it contributed to greater career happiness. So I would say that if you feel like it's a good move for you, then I wouldn't worry too much about the stigma, and I don't think that there really is as much of a stigma attached to it anymore. Okay, Joan, we've got some more questions for you.
I know, I see a lot of good ones too.
There's so many. We've got people all over Twitter and on our chat boxes going crazy, so this is really exciting.
Okay,
a lot of fun today.
We'll keep going so we can answer as many as we can.
Yes. Okay, so Joan, one question I have was from Carolina, and she works in a union environment and feels that maybe some of these principles don't relate. Have you ever worked in or with a union environment? Do you feel like there's a distinct difference for them?
I've never worked in one, but I have had clients who've been in a union environment. In fact, when we lived in Michigan years ago, Michigan State University offered a lot of our programs to their hundreds of assistants. And it's okay to mention it. They all know their union there, or maybe they're not anymore. It's been several years. But at that time, and so I know I had to approach some of the subjects a little differently, especially one of the things that I learned, and not only there but some other places too where there were unions, was that attitude of, well, why should I be excellent? Why should I try to work hard? I'm going to get a salary raise anyways. Doesn't matter. But my answer was you do it for yourself, and you do it because you want to grow and you want to excel, and you don't know if you're going to stay there forever either. So you should always be filling your bag of skills. As far as maybe how people in that environment might view the administrative role, I don't really want to stereotype. I don't know. To be honest, I really don't know and would not feel, you know, I think sometimes it's more the individual, the person you work for, because I know there are executives in non-union environments or managers in non-union environments who make their assistant not feel not worthy. So I would look more at each individual who you interact with and try to really evaluate them on an individual basis versus clustering them as a group and having stereotypes.
Right. Okay, this question from Courtney is really interesting to me, Joan, and I think because I know this is your story, you've kind of gone in this direction with your career. Courtney says, do you think as an EA aspiring to become a CEO, is that a bit of a stretch? How will your experience as an executive assistant be a pro or con in aspiring to becoming a CEO as your ultimate goal?
It definitely helps. In terms of, I'll tell you the pros and cons. The pro definitely is there are so many skill sets I brought with me to running my own business and to being a CEO. When you're an executive assistant and you're managing everybody else's life, you're scheduling appointments, you're having to prioritize, you have to manage time, you have to be very organized, you have to be an excellent communicator. Those are all the skills that you need when you own your own business. You have to manage your time really well. You have to be able to juggle multiple things, even beyond what you experience as an assistant. So what I would say to you, if you look at what you do as an assistant, which is a lot, and all the dimensions of that job, now multiply that anywhere from 5 to 10 times, that's what you do when you're a CEO. And you're not only having to manage yourself, you have to manage people, and that's difficult sometimes. And you have to learn how to manage people because it's not just now, you know, things coming at you, but you have to push out. You have to be able to delegate. You have to be able to encourage and inspire people. So the other side of that is really learning business management skills, because first and foremost you're running a business, and so that's very, very important. You have to develop your leadership skills, which you can do as an assistant. We teach leadership all the time to assistants, but really honing that. Communication skills is critically important. Good judgment skills, decision-making skills. You have to have tons of resiliency. And in fact, this year our conference theme is the resilient assistant. So that's a skill that definitely transfers over to being your own business owner. And you have to take risks. Remember, I talked about risks earlier today. You have to be a high risk taker and be able to bounce back when you fall flat on your face. You can't take it personally, and you have to know how to move on. So a lot of what you're learning and you're doing right now definitely is going to help you tremendously. And then you have to round that out with all these other skills I mentioned.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Joan, I probably have pages and pages more of questions, but we promised that we would get to your super secret, and I have just a few more announcements to get to, so I better move on to the next thing. And we will be doing our administrative blogathon all month, so we will definitely look deeper into your questions and start answering those on the blog this month. I will post the link in the chat box for you to join our blogathon because we're giving away more great prizes there. So don't fret if we didn't get to your question, because we will definitely be doing more webinars and we will be doing blogs every day this month, so you will be getting a ton of information from us, and we will look at those questions deeper. Okay, so before we get into the prizes and the super secret, we would like to just offer an incredible tool for all of you who are attending the webinar today. This is something that will help you to really work on your radiant career and just help with your career success all around. And it's actually more than one tool. We are offering every single one of our online learning tools and every single one of our products by Chrissy Civic, which are ebooks, e-guides, and she also has some online learning programs as well. So these are all tools that you don't have to leave your office for. You can take them, do them in your free time at work or at home, and you don't have to travel. So for a lot of you who are running into the budgetary issues, these tools are going to be great for that. There's more than 30 of these items, and they're all new since January. So if you've been a follower and a fan of Office Dynamics for a long time, these are all brand new. So you can actually find a lot of new items. There's more than 30 in the shopping cart, and you will be able to get them for the next week until April 15th. Wednesday, April 15th, it expires at 30% off using your code RADIANT, and that's all capital letters, RADIANT. And that is a limited time, as I mentioned. So don't forget to visit the Success Store, and I will share a link with you here on the sidebar so that you can see what that is. There's a link to the Success Store there, and it's all products in the category online learning and the category ebooks and e-guides. Okay, so we also have prizes, $1,000 worth of prizes to give away, and you must be on the webinar to earn those prizes. So the first prize is How to Build Professional Relationships by Chrissy Civic. And this is a surefire system to help you build strong relationships. And our first prize winner, I'm just going to jump over to our attendee list and randomly select here. We have Patricia Younger-Womack. Patricia, you are a prize winner. So if you will just follow up with me by email at jfreeman@officedynamics.com today, we will get your prize to you. That is the How to Build Professional Relationships with Chrissy Civic. Okay, our next prize is the Linked or Lucky webinar by Joan Burge, where we share our secret networking sauce. And Joan and I actually did that webinar together. That webinar is going to, let's see here, randomly select, and that is Angela Savat. Angela, you are the winner of that prize. So if you'll contact me at jfreeman@officedynamics.com, we'll get you that prize. And the next is Mastering Exceptional Self-Leadership. This is a 5.5-hour course that Joan teaches on how to lead yourself, and I'm actually co-facilitator in that course with Joan. That is going to Sharon Calloway. Sharon, if you'll contact me by email, you are a prize winner. And let's see here, just two more before we give this back over to Joan for the secret, super secret. Winning the Inner Game of Career Success by Chrissy Civic. This is an introspective journey to help you break barriers that prevent you from achieving career success. That prize is going to Kathy O'Connor. Kathy, if you will contact me regarding your prize, again, jfreeman@officedynamics.com. And the last is our Bold and Balanced, Your Career, Your Life conference on demand. That is another 5.5-hour program of information-packed learning from our conference last year. And that is going, let's see here, to Argentina Candal, C-A-N-D-A-L. Argentina, you're a prize winner. If you'll contact me, we'll get that to you. Okay, Joan, let's turn that back over to you for your super secret so we can end on time.
Good, good, good. I hope everybody's had a great time and has learned a lot of great information. So here's my super secret for you. You've got to get to know the movers and the shakers in your organization. You need a champion. If you're going to have a radiant career, you've got to build these relationships with people who could actually help you. And again, this doesn't mean that you're going to move up the ladder. You may be just where you are, but to make things happen and to get things done, and again, to be persuasive, to have that champion who's going to go out there and help promote training for your assistants, that's what you need. Now, how do you meet the movers and the shakers? One, it could be your very own executive, the person you support. You know, who does your executive know in the organization? That's where you have to show your talent. You have to purposely get yourself in front of these people Make sure you have your brand all in place, whether that's your image brand or your attitude brand. You know, Jasmine's brand is calmness. You know, that's her brand. She's always calm and cool no matter what's happening. But you need a champion, and you need to get in front of these people. And one way also to get in front of people is to do something for them first. Give them a compliment. Send them information that might be of interest to them, and then they're going to want to get to know you as well. So that's my big secret. But it's important, and a lot of people are afraid to go out there and meet those movers and shakers. But believe me, they're just like you and I. They're human beings, and it's amazing what they can do for you. I want to just thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for participating today. I want to wish you an amazing Administrative Professionals Week, which is only 2 weeks away. Woohoo! Very exciting. As Jasmine said, participate. I mean, come to our blogathon, comment. You can win more prizes and learn a lot more great information around your career. And also, I think it's safe to announce, I think, Jasmine, that in June, because that is our 25th year anniversary, we're also going to be doing a very special webinar, a big celebration, so come back and bring all your friends as well. Thank you so very much, and thank you, Jasmine, for your assistance today. And I just want to thank my awesome assistant, too, as we approach Administrative Professionals Week, who, you know, has now moved into an amazing position as Vice President of Office Dynamics, and it's going to help take us into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Bye.